Hi all, good evening. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, let me mute everyone, and in case if you guys have any questions, you can type it in the chat or like raise the hand. Okay, so as like most of them are like new to IT, so I thought like it's better to take the manual testing first rather than starting the automation testing. Okay, so that's why like I'll do the manual testing now. Okay, and from like once this is done, probably from Monday onwards, like we'll do the automation. Okay, so whatever that we can cover today, I'll cover it, and also on Sunday, and then the next class like we'll start the automation. Okay, from Monday onwards. Okay, so I'll unmute everyone, and like if you guys have any question, type it in the chat. Okay, so so before even starting like manual testing, so first of all, let's try to understand like what is the software development life cycle. Okay, so like most of you know like what exactly the software is. Like it's an application that has been developed. Okay, for example, let's say when you go to the Amazon.com. Okay, so see, this is an application that has been developed. In the same way, if you go to the like let's say Excel application. So when you open a Excel, like you will have an application like where you can enter some data in there, you can store some data into it. Okay. In the same way, like these are all the applications that have been developed. So based on whatever the client that they want, so these applications have been developed. So Amazon is the company which like developed this application. Okay, so Amazon.com. In the same way, Walmart, like they will create their own application for Walmart.com and something like different applications. So every company like they have their own applications. Okay, so to develop these applications, like we have something called as software development life cycle. So this is a like software. Okay, and to develop this software, like there is a life cycle, so which is called as like software development life cycle. Software development life cycle. Okay, and which we can also say it as SDLC, software development life cycle. Okay, and there are different stages in this life cycle, like different stages in the sense like whenever the application is being developed. Okay, so they have different stages that they go through. Okay, the first stage is the requirements phase. So this is the first stage wherein like the requirements will be first gathered. So requirements in the sense, see, every like say Amazon.com is there. So what they will do, like when they want to develop an application, the company like they think that okay, they want some application wherein all the users can open that application and buy things from their website for from their company. Okay, so then they come to like the company will decide that okay, they want to create some application, and then they are the ones who will decide how the application should be. Okay, or how exactly the application should work, what are the functionalities that should be present in the application. Okay, so for example, see, let's say when you open this URL, this Amazon page should be displayed. Okay, when you click on this, let's say youramazon.com, it should go onto this page. Okay, and not only that, like they are the ones who will decide okay, this should look like this, that the Amazon icon should be displayed like this. Okay, and then let's say, see, there should be a like edit box here, and there should be a link with a icon that they can click. Okay, and all these links should be present, there should be an icon like this. So all these things, so the company, the client is the one who will decide like what should be on the application. Okay, and that is what exactly is called the requirements. So they come come up with the requirements like stating that what should be present in the application. Okay, so that's what the first phase. So first phase of the software development lifecycle is the requirements phase. So where the client will come up with all the requirements that they want in the application. Okay, so that's what the requirements phase is. And generally generally the requirements, like first phase, like first they give the requirements, and they will there are some people called like BAs, who are called like business analysts. So they are the ones who will work with the end clients and break down all the requirements. So BAs, like business analysts, like how we are testers and how the developers are there, like there will be some BA, business analysts, who will actually talk to the like actual client, and they will get the requirements from the client. Okay, and they will write the requirements in an English like language so that everybody can understand. Okay, for example, see something like this. The requirements document may have, like, let's say, okay, I'll go to my website. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so let's go to some, like, let's say instead of that website, I'll go to my website. Okay, so let's say there can be requirement something like this. When we launch the application, like when we open the URL in a browser, okay, so the first requirement can be something like open etrainingit.com. Okay, then home page should be displayed, or opening this, there should be a home page with my or the company logo. Okay, there should be a home page, like there should be a home page displayed with company logo. So that can be one requirement. So what I'm talking about is, like, say this is the icon that should be displayed with some logo on it. Okay, that's kind of one requirement. And on the home page, there should be a pop-up for, let's say, sign up or something, pop-up for subscribe, with some field, let's say with fields like username and email ID and a submit button. Okay, so what I'm talking, like, this is what it is, like with a close, submit, and some information. So that's can be one requirement. Okay, submit button and close button, close link or something. So okay, and so something like this. So these are all the requirements that they generally create for an application. Okay, and there should be a tab, okay, or horizontal, like a box with links like home, comma, live trainings, okay, comma, sample videos, comma, members, comma, FAQs, like interview questions, okay, and contact us. Okay, think about that. Like, let's say before developing this application, like before developing this website, I came up with these kinds of requirements. So I really came up with these requirements, and I sent it to the company who developed it. Okay, so even in the real time also, generally whenever they develop an application, they will come up with the requirements like this. So they will create all the requirements for each and everything that should be present in the application. Okay, and these are something, let's say UI related ones. Okay, so there can be one more requirement saying that, like on clicking home, like home link, okay, user should be displayed with home page, or home page should be displayed, something like that. Okay, and let's say one more URL, like one more requirement can be live trainings, like on mouse over of live trainings link, okay, user should be displayed with list box for different trainings, something like this. Okay, like QTP, then Selenium, okay, or manual, okay, then HPALM, or whatever the links that they want, that we want to have under that links is something. This is what I'm talking about. So when you over it, like it should be display a list with all these trainings. Okay, and let's say there can be one, can have one more requirement saying that, like on clicking QTP link, user should be navigated to QTP page, QTP like training something description page. Okay, this can be like one more requirement. And then let's say on clicking sample videos link, user should navigate to sample videos page, something like this. And then I can also have, like on clicking on close, this window should be, or the like that window should be closed, see, or the pop-up should be closed. On clicking close on pop-up, it should be closed, something like this. Okay, so everything, like, and also on that, like the, let's say there should be an image with what are the trainings that we have, or something like that. See, so the next requirement can be 9. There should be a image displayed with all the trainings below the um, menu bar, or something like this, menu bar. Okay, and below that, so something welcome message, let's say some, like check these boxes. So there should be a boxes for QTP, manual testing, ALM, like Selenium, database testing, Cucumber. Then below that there should be our services, the testimonials, like, and all the links at the bottom. So for each and every thing that should be present in the application, so there will be one requirement. Okay, so this is how, like the like client, with the help of the BAs, like they will come up with these requirements. Okay, so the BAs will talk to the clients and they'll get all these requirements and they'll write these requirements. So that's the first phase that will happen for the software development lifecycle. Okay, so without requirements, like we'll not be able to like develop the application, or like we cannot create anything. So if you don't know what you are doing, like we cannot do anything. Okay, so that's where the requirements come. So first we'll get the requirements, and based on the requirements itself, the application will be developed. Okay, and this is called as, like, out of this phase. So once the requirements has been created by the business analyst, this they will prepare a like business specification document. So this document is called business, or requirements, they can also say business, or like requirements specification document. Okay, so that's the outcome of this requirements phase. So once that requirements phase is completed, like we'll get a business requirements documents or business specification document. Okay, and once that document is completed, like then we'll start the design. Okay, so this is the design phase. So basically what we do in the design phase is like the like there will be some architects in the company. Architects are the persons like who will actually design the application. So they will come up, okay, based on the requirements that they see, based on whatever the requirements that we get from the client, what the architects will do is they will design the application. Design in the sense they'll not actually develop the application, but they will design it, stating that okay, the home page should be like this, there should be a link like this, when you click on that link, like the pages should be displayed like this. So they'll actually design, and also they will design just every component of the application, like like what should be used for the front end in the sense on the UI, like UI what should be there, and data, where the data should be stored, like when you enter some data, where should it go, and everything. Like it's kind of a designing that will be done during this design phase. So architect will sit and they will come up with all the designs of how the application should work and what are the technologies that they should use in the application. Okay, so once the design has been completed, then actual development will start. Okay, that's a development phase. So during this development, like what we will do is, we in the sense there will be developers. So this will be done by architects. Okay, so they generally are like system architects or business architects. So they are the ones who will design it. And once the design has been completed, then comes into picture the developers. Okay, so developers are the ones who develop the application. Okay, so to develop that application, so whatever that application is, see, this is one application, like Amazon is one application. Okay, so to develop the applications, like there are different languages that the developers can use. Okay, for example, let's say Java. So Java is a language using which the developers can develop the application. Like there is Java and .NET, okay, SAP, like that. There are many languages using which the developers can develop. So what these architects and the company will do is, based on the requirements that they have, they will decide which language is good for them. Okay, so some companies, they will prefer developing the applications on Java. Some companies, they prefer applications building it on .NET. Okay, so based on their requirement, like what their requirement is, what their applications are, and what they want to do, so based on that they will go to that specific language. Okay, whichever the language itself. So once they decide that, what the developers will do in this development phase is, so based on the requirement, they will start writing the code. So let's say if it is Java, okay, so they will hire all the Java developers, and what the Java developers will do is they will go through each and every requirement. So because that's how they come to know what actually they want to develop. Okay, so based on that only they will start developing the application. So they will write the code in the Java to get our application, so to display this application. So the developers need to write some code to get this, like when you enter the URL to display the home page, they will write some code. Okay, so when you click on this live trainings, they'll write the code to display this list box. When you click on QTP, so they will write, so when you click on this, okay, it should go onto this page. Okay, so all this code will be written by the developers during this development phase. Okay, and once the development has been completed, then comes the testing phase. Okay, so this is where the testers come into picture. So what the testers will do is, see, the testers will come into picture. So what the testers will do is, see, based on the requirement, they'll check whether the application is working as per the requirements or not. Okay, so they will go to each and every, again, even the testers also, what they do, like first thing that they will do is they'll go through all the requirements and they will try to understand, okay, what are the requirements or what exactly the client wants from the application. Okay, so from then, like once the requirements, they read the requirements, they'll go into the application and they will test it. They will verify whether the application is working as per the requirements or not, whether it is working as per what client needs or not. Okay, so that's what the testing phase is. Okay, we'll go to each and every functionality and we'll verify. See, first test case, like first requirement, we'll go and check, like open the URL, the home page should be displayed. So they will go into the application and they will enter the URL, okay, and check whether the home page is displayed or not. When they click that, they'll then go and check whether this image is there or not, these links are present. So for each and every test case, like they will try to go and verify whether it is working as per the test cases or the requirements or not. Okay, that's what the testing phase is. So, and it is done by the testers. So manual testers, automation testing, we'll talk about it later, but that is what is done in the testing phase. Okay, once the testing has been completed, like that application will be released to the end clients. End clients in the sense, let's say Amazon.com. Okay, so when they are building the application, like they will build the application, and once the developers build it and the testers test that application, what they do is they will release to the end clients. End clients in the sense like users like us. So they will release it to us and we'll use it to buy some, like what are the goods that we want to, we'll buy it from that application. So once the testing has been completed, that will be released to the clients. Okay, and the last phase in the software development lifecycle is the maintenance phase. Okay, so basically what this maintenance phase is, let's say once they release the product to the like end clients, then what there might be some changes that might come in future. Okay, like, or there might be some issues in the current functionality, or there might be some new functionality that they want to add it to the application. So all those things will be done in the maintenance phase. Okay, so any changes to the application, any modifications, any new functionalities, everything will be done in this maintenance phase. Okay, so generally, like, these are the 5 different like phases that we have in the software development life cycle. Like requirements phase, we'll get all the requirements. Then based on the requirements, like we will design the application in the design phase. And once the designing has been completed, like we'll go to the development phase. Okay, and where the developers will develop the application, and then comes the testing phase. Once the development has been completed, then the testers will come into the picture and they will test the application. And once the testing has been completed, it goes to the maintenance phase for any of the changes, updates, or like new functionalities that have been adding to the like that application. Okay, so these are the different phases that we have. Okay, and these are the phases, and every company, like, they follow a different methodology. Okay, different, like there are different models using which the companies will develop the application. Models in the sense, like, they will follow some standards. Okay, using for developing these applications. Standards in the sense, see, like let's say there are different models, like development models. Let me increase the font. Okay, see, first one, like the waterfall model. Okay, waterfall. So like this was previously used to be done, like what they do in the waterfall model is, like first they do with the requirements phase. Okay, so first they will create the requirements, and then once the requirements has been completed, see, let me take a highlighter. So what they do is, let me erase this. Okay, so what they do is, first they'll do the requirements. So once the requirements has been completed, then comes the design phase. Okay, and okay, so design phase, and once the design phase has been completed, then comes the development phase, and then comes the testing. So after the total development has been completed, then comes the testing, and then the maintenance phase. So like see, it's a kind of a waterfall. So once all the requirements are completed, then comes the the design phase. Once the total design has been completed, then they will develop the total application. And once the development has been completed, then comes the testing. Okay, so and then they will release it to the client. But let's say, so with this model, what will happen? So let's say to develop the requirements, let's say they need 2 months of time. Okay, and designing, let's say they need 1 month of time. So development, let's say they need 3 months of time. And again, let's say testing, you need another 3 months of time. Okay, so how much time is required? See, to just develop one application, they will be sending like 3 plus 3, 6, 9 months. So one product will go to the customer only after 9 months of time. Okay, so after 9 months itself, like the product will be released to the client. Okay, and this is what the waterfall model is. Okay, and like once one phase has been done, then only they'll start the next phase. So until, see this, when once the development has been done, till then the testers will sit idle. Okay, idle in the sense they'll just write some test cases and leave it. Okay, but the actual testing will be done only after 3 months. Even though the developers have started writing the code from day one, like the testers will only start work at the third, after 3 months itself. Okay, so that's one of the problem with the waterfall model. Okay, so there is a lot of wastage of time. Okay, and like the development is done very slowly. Okay, or the releases will be done very slowly. Okay, but to avoid that, like nowadays there are different models that they are following. So this was a waterfall model. Then comes, see, let me erase this drawing. Okay, and the next one, like which is very popular nowadays, is the agile methodology. Okay, so with the agile methodology, what they do is, instead of getting all the requirements, then design, then developing the total application, what they do is they'll divide the requirements into kind of chunks. Okay, see, for example, like let's say they have a big requirements. So instead of completing everything, what they do, they'll cut them. Okay, they'll say that, okay, these are the requirements, like they'll cut these requirements. Okay, and the one team will be working on one requirements, second team will be working on these requirements, third team will be working on these, fourth team will be working on this. And even on that also, when the first team takes a chunk of requirements, like what they will do is they will not like develop the code everything at one time. So first what they will do, again in that they'll take a chunk of it. Okay, let's say there are 10 requirements. So what they'll do, they'll take first 2 requirements and they'll start developing the application. So once those 2 requirements have been completed, they'll send it to the testing. Okay, so the testers will test those whatever the 2 requirements that have been developed, they'll test it. And then, so like now with this, the testers are not wasting the time. Okay, they are not sitting idle until the total development has been completed. So what they do, once some functionality has been developed, they will deliver it to the testers and testers will test it. Then again, once that is done, the developers will start working on the second functionality. And once this is done, they again will send it to the testers. Okay, so with this, what happens is, like the testers, developers, everything, like they will work very fastly compared to the waterfall model. Okay, and nowadays most of the companies, they are preferring to go with the agile methodology itself. Like waterfall, they are slowly trying to get rid of waterfall and coming most of them into the agile methodology. Okay, we'll try to see like some terms and like terminology, because like a lot of requirements nowadays, they're asking for the agile methodology experience. Like they are checking whether if we are working on a project which has the agile methodology. So for that, like we might need to know some terms, like what are the different terms that we will be using in agile methodology. Like we'll try to see all those terms. Okay, we'll in the next class, like I'll try to give you the idea of each and every term, like what is the total process that we do in the agile methodology. Okay, but in the waterfall, all we do is everything we'll do it at once itself, like one by one, step by step. First requirements, then design, then development. Once the development is done, the testing will come into the picture. With agile methodology, like like requirements will be done. Once the requirements is done, the team will work, the developers will work on some of the requirements, then they will release that project, they will release that what are the product that comes out of those things. Okay, those two requirements, they will release it for the testing. Then the developers start, when the testers are testing it, the developers will work on the third and fourth requirement. And once that is done, they will release it to the testers. So like that, like they will simultaneously work, and the work will be done quicker than compared to the waterfall model. Okay, so like this, like waterfall and the agile methodology, there are many methodologies or many development models that are in the market. Okay, but now mostly everybody is trying to go to the agile methodology itself. Some people still go for waterfall, but most of them are for the agile methodology itself. Okay, and like this, like there are other methodologies also, agile, waterfall, then incremental something, or spiral. There are like many of them, but these are the important ones that we need to know. Okay, the waterfall model and the agile methodology. Okay, any questions so far? Yeah, one of the question was like, in case in the maintenance phase, let's say if they add new functionalities, so yes, it will again go through the testing phase for sure. Yes. Okay, so even in the maintenance phase, like when they during this phase, like what they will do, let's say some new functionality has been added to the application, so they want to, the client wants to add a new functionality to the application. So at that time what they do is, again it comes to it goes through all the phases, like requirements phase, then again there will be a design phase, development, as well as testing phase. Okay, so when they want to add a new functionalities, again all the four phases will come into the picture. Okay, so generally during the like maintenance, it can be, in case if there are any issues with the previous functionalities, they'll try to fix that, and new functionalities when they come up, then again it goes through all the phases again. Okay, if they want to add new functionalities. Okay, so that's about the like development models, like waterfall and the agile model. So again, like in the testing also, like the testing phase, like we have life cycle for that testing also. So how we have for the development phase, different phases for the development. In the same way, even in the testing also, like we have different phases. So that's what is testing life cycle is. Okay, so in the testing life cycle, like what exactly we do in the testing, that is what exactly is the testing life cycle is. Okay, so the first thing that we do in the testing life cycle is test planning. Okay, so what the test planning is, like, see, so whenever we start the testing, like there should be a planning that should be done. Okay, so that's what the test planning is. Planning in the sense, during the test planning, we'll come up with some planning of how we want to test the application. Okay, so for that, like we'll prepare a document, like a test plan document, and that will have all the information of our testing. Okay, so we'll prepare a test plan document. See, a test plan document will be prepared. A test plan document will be prepared, which will have information something like this. Let's say when to start the testing, like when to start testing. Then it also have when to stop testing, like timelines, like when is the testing going to start, at the dates, and like when is the testing going to be stopped. And then we also, it will also have like number of resources required, like number of testers required. Okay, like number of testers required to test the application. Then it will also have like number of resources required. Resources in the sense, systems, like how many systems, then operating systems, how many are required, like how many machines, like computers are required, how many are, what are the different operating systems are required, then any hardware or any other softwares that is required to test the application. So all the things, like whatever the resources that are required to complete our testing, so everything will be put together in the test plan document. Okay, then it also will have what are the types of testings that we will be doing, types of testing that will be performed. Okay, we'll see, like there are different types of testings that will be performed in the application. So we'll see what those types of testings are. So what testing that we will be doing, so all that will also be part of this test plan document. Okay, and then testings will be done, then entry point, okay, of testing, then exit point, okay, exit point in the sense like when should we stop the total testing. Okay, so this is like when to start the testing and when to stop the testing is the timelines, like when, like at what time we need to start the testing and what time we need to end the testing. And this entry and exit point of testing is like when are we actually going to start the testing. Okay, once the development has been completed, like at what time like we'll be starting the testing, and also when are we going to stop the testing. It's not like the date, but let's say if all the bugs in the, like if there are no issues in the application, then we'll stop the testing. Okay, so that's the exit point. So all these information, okay, and also let's say what are the functionalities that will be tested, like functionalities or features slash functionalities that will be tested or to be tested. Okay, then features that will not be tested. Okay, so everything, like everything about our testing, okay, will be present in this document. So features that are tested, features that will not be tested, in the sense, let's say in build number 1, like or first 1 month, let's say they will be developing only on the, let's say, home page itself. They are not developing anything related to the inside pages. Okay, so we'll write in our test plan that okay, we will be only testing the home page of the application and will not be testing anything related to the child pages or the pages that inside of the application. So those things also, like we'll put it into the test plan document. Okay, and also any risk that might come, everything, like if they need any approvals for any documents, okay, any approvals that they need to do the testing or to complete the testing or to release that product to the end clients. So all that information, like everything related to the testing will be present in this test plan document, or and all that will be done at the part of test planning phase. Okay, so generally this will be done by the team leads because they know everything about like what is required for the testing or what is required in the application, what resources that they have. Okay, so generally the test, like this will be done by the test leads or the managers. Okay, so testers may or may not do it, but sometimes they may ask the testers itself to do this test plan, or sometimes that managers develop, like managers or the team leads, they will be creating the test plan document. Okay, but we need to know like what is going to be present in that test plan document. I'll try to send a sample document. Like if you go through that sample document, like it will have all this information. So I'll send a document like sample test plan document to you guys. Okay, so that's what exactly is done in the test planning. And once the test planning has been completed, then the next phase is the test cases phase. Okay, test cases means, see, let me explain you what these test cases are. Okay, so basically test cases are steps to test the application. So they are steps to test the application. Okay, and that steps we will write based on the requirements. Okay, because requirements, like for everything, like requirements are the main thing that we need to know. Based on that itself, the developers can develop the application and testers can test the application. So everything will be based on the requirements itself. Okay, so even in the testing phase, like we will write the test cases based on the requirements document. Okay, and these test cases will be written in the test case phase. And generally, like the test cases will be either written in an Excel file or a Word document, or sometimes they might write those test cases in the ALM. ALM is like a test management tool, which we'll see. Okay, so generally they will write those test cases in the Excel file, okay, or whatever the format that the company has. Okay, so see, let me open an Excel and we'll try to write some sample test cases. Okay, so this is like kind of a sample Excel, and I'll try to, first column is the, let's say, serial number, then test step, or I can just say step. Okay, and then expected, actual, and the result. Okay, and it can also have a test case name also. So every company will have its own format. See, test case name, serial number, like test case name, step, what is expected, what is actual, and what is the result. Okay, see, let me increase the font. And like I said, every company can have its own format. So it's not mandatory that these are the only columns that should be there in the test plan, or sorry, on the test cases document. Like every company will have its own format. Some companies might have serial number, some companies might not have serial number. Okay, so some people will have test case name. They might, some people might have just the name or just test case. Okay, so it depends, and some people might have their own columns like serial number, then like functionality name or functionality ID or something like that. So every company will have its own format. So when we start the project, they are going to give you a format. Okay, they'll tell you like this is the format that you need to use to write the test cases. So based on that, like we need to take that format and write the test cases in that format itself. Okay, so some people they use Excel file, some companies they might use like a Word document. Okay, some people might use it Word, like note text file. Okay, so it depends on what their standards are, how they want to do it. Okay, but mostly it's an Excel file itself. And okay, so let's write a first test case number 1, and see, we will write the test cases based on the requirements itself. Okay, so without requirements, like we cannot know, like let's say if you started working for a Bank of America and they are creating an application. So if you go for the first day, like we don't even know what that application is, or like what needs to be developed in the application. Okay, so we will come to know only if you go through their requirements. So based on the requirements itself, like we'll start creating the application or testing the application. Okay, so how, like let's write some test cases to the requirements that we have written now. Okay, see, these are the requirements. So the first requirement is open like etrainingit.com, and there should be a home page displayed with company logo. So this is one requirement. See, let's write that. So the test case name is, maybe I can give it as home page verification. Okay, so based on the step, we can, like based on what the requirement is, we can come up with this test case name, and I'll say home page verification. Okay, and the step is open browser, launch like URL. So this is our step. Open a browser and launch URL. And browser can be any types of browsers, and URL can be like whatever the URL that is. Okay, and expected is homepage should be displayed, something like this. Home page should be displayed, and the actual we will update it when we are actually testing the application. So now we are in the test case development phase. So we are in the test case phase. So we will only write the test cases, but we'll test it like when we are actually testing the application. At that time we will update the actual and the result columns. Okay, and the next test case is the second one, let's say. Okay, so for one requirement we can write only one test case, or we can write multiple test cases also. Okay, for example, see, for the first requirement there should be a home page displayed with company logo. So we can write there should be a home page should be displayed as one test case, and verifying the company logo as one more test case. We can also do that. Okay, so like one test case can have one requirement can have multiple test cases also. See, let's try the second one, like home page, maybe logo verification. Okay, and the step is verify like home page logo. Okay, and the expected is company logo should be displayed at right top side, at right on the right hand side, or right top, something like that, like this. Okay, then so the next test case is, see, and we need to make sure, like whenever we are writing the test case, we need to make sure that we are covering all the requirements. Okay, and see, on home page there should be a pop-up for subscribe now. Okay, so it says like pop-up verification, or I can say home page pop-up verification. Okay, step is on home page, like, or launch home page. Okay, and our verification is pop-up should be displayed, like something like this. Pop-up should be displayed. Then the next test case can be same thing, pop-up verification. Okay, on pop-up, okay, or on pop-up, let's say name edit box, name text field, something. Okay, like name text field should be displayed, something like this. And let's say on this one, or name, username, email ID, and the submit button should be displayed. And there can be some other information. Let's say that username should accept, let's say 30 characters. Okay, so it should accept 30 characters only, or 30 alphanumeric characters. Okay, then let's say email ID should accept up to, let's say 50 characters with only @ symbol, or should have only @ symbol. Okay, so username should accept like 30 characters, and email ID should accept up to 50 characters and should have like @ symbol. So it should have @ symbol. Okay, so we can write some test cases like that. So name, like one for the name text field should be displayed, then email ID text field should be displayed, password should be displayed, or whatever it is based on that. Okay, and then like one more test case, let's say fifth one. See, let's write one test case for this. Username should accept 30 alphanumeric characters. To do this test, like to test this, we might need to write multiple test cases. Okay, so there comes positive and negative test cases. Positive test cases in the sense, see, let's say username, edit box. Okay, step is enter less than 30 characters. That means our requirement is to check whether it should accept up to 30 characters. Okay, so what we are trying to do in one test case, we are trying to enter less than 30 characters. Okay, so that means edit box or username should accept. Okay, that means it should not throw any error and it should accept it. And let's say the next test case is, see, username edit box, enter more than 30 characters. Okay, and our expected is username should not accept it, or there should be a error. Let's say there should be a error message displayed, something like this. Okay, so username should not accept it and there should be a error message displayed. So that's what should happen when we enter more than 30 characters. Okay, and like next can be username edit box, enter 30 characters. Okay, and it should accept it. Username should accept. Okay, so like this, see, for one requirement itself, like we are writing different things, like one is positive, one is negative, and one is happy path. Happy path in the sense entering the same, like whatever base, whatever it accepts, that's what the happy path is. And this is like positive and this is negative scenario. Okay, either positive also you can say or happy path also you can say, and negative scenario. Negative in the sense like we need to try to enter more than 30 characters and check whether it's working or not, and enter less than 30 characters and verify whether it's working or not. Okay, so that also comes into positive and negative. So for every requirement we need to think about like different scenarios that might happen, and we need to write the test cases for that. So that means we have to test all the different ways to make sure that it works correctly. Okay, so it can be positive and the negative test cases. Okay, and see the next one is here itself, like user name should accept 30 characters and it should accept alphanumeric characters. Okay, so we can write some more test cases for this. See, username edit box, enter only alphabets. Okay, enter only alpha characters. Okay, alphabets characters. Username should accept it. Okay, username edit box, enter numeric values. Okay, so username should accept, something like this. So actually these these are test cases vague. So sorry, these requirements are little vague because we just wrote it like that. But generally when you are trying to get it from the client, it will be specific. Okay, so if it says alpha numeric characters, it might also say that only alpha may not be accepted, only numerics may not be accepted. It should be a combination of both alpha and numeric characters. So everything, it will be precisely specified in your requirement. Okay, so based on that itself, like we will write the test cases. But now we are saying that it should accept 30 alphanumeric characters. So even if it is alpha, it only alphabets it should accept, and if it is only numeric values, it should accept. So that's why we are writing this. In case if it is specifically says it should not accept only alpha or only numeric values, then the test cases will be different. Okay, but based on our requirement, like we'll write the test cases. And one requirement can have multiple test cases also. See, only for one requirement we have written almost like 5 test cases. So it can be one to many, like this. Okay, and let's say functionality one. See, let's say on clicking home link, user should be displayed with home page. or let's say that, like, see, on clicking QTP, user should be navigated to the QTP training page. So the test case can be something like this, see. Okay, like QTP link verification. Okay, on clicking QTP link in trainings, okay, trainings list, okay, or step should not be on clicking, it should be click QTP link. Okay, click QTP link in the training list. Okay, user should be navigated to QTP training page or something like this, QTP training page. Okay, so this can be one test case, like when you click on that link, like our expected is that user should be navigated to the QTP training page like this. Okay, so like that for each and every requirement, like we will try to write the test cases, and that will be done in the test cases phase. Okay, so test planning, then here we will write the test cases. So based on our requirement, like we'll come up with all the types of test cases that we can. Okay, the positive test cases, negative test cases, okay, happy path, okay, and like we'll try to write the test cases. Okay, so once the test cases have been completed, like once the test cases have been completed, it comes a test execution. Okay, test execution. Okay, so test execution is nothing but like the actual testing that will be performed by the testers. Okay, so during this test execution phase, like what we will do is we will execute all the test cases that we have to test that application. Okay, so what we'll do, like the developers will tell you, okay, the application has been developed, okay, can you please test it? So at that time what we'll do, we'll come and we'll try to we'll execute all these test cases. Okay, then like when you are executing it, then we will update this actual and the result. Okay, so let's say we are testing it. So what we'll do, we'll take the first test case, and the step says that open browser and launch the URL. So as we are doing like a manual testing, so we'll try to open a browser, then we'll enter the URL in it, see URL, and we'll click on submit. And once you submit, we'll check, okay, when you are launching this URL, are we getting this home page or not? Because we know it, like we'll get the screenshots from the developers or the requirements document. We'll also have the screenshots also. That's how you know how the images should be or how the links should be. Okay, so we'll enter it and we'll check, okay, we are entering the etrainingit.com, and yes, we are able to see the website there. So what we'll do, we'll come here and update the actual, yes, home page is displayed, something like this. And we'll update the result also. So how we update the result is when the expected is same as actual. Okay, that means whatever that, as per the test case, whatever is expected, if you see the same thing in the application, then we'll pass the test case. Okay, so if the expected and the actual are same, then we'll pass the test case. In case if they are not same, then we'll fail the test case. Okay, so when you try to, let's say if you are executing the first test case, and when you open the URL, okay, when you launch this etrainingit.com, instead of this website, let's say amazon.com is getting displayed. Okay, so that means that's what the client wants. So client doesn't want that. They want their own web page or the home page should be displayed. And as per the test case, that's what they are like, that's what they want it. Okay, so if they don't need it, like if they see something else, if it is if the application is not working as per the expected value, then we will fail the test case. Okay, so for example, the company logo. So I'm saying that my company logo should be displayed. Let's say when you open it, if you see a Amazon company logo, we'll say in the actual that Amazon logo is displayed. Okay, that's not that is what I'm not expecting. Okay, I'm expecting my company logo, but let's say if Amazon logo is displayed, then we will fail the test case like this. Okay, so each and every test case we will execute it and we'll update the actual and we'll update the result. And in case if there is a failure, okay, we will raise a bug. Bug in the sense like you can either call bug or you can also call defect. Okay, if our expected is not same as actual, that means the application is not working as per the requirements. So which means like there is some problem in the applications which need to be fixed, and that problem, like in the testing perspective, you call it as a bug. Either we can call it as a bug or some people call it as defect also, bug or defect. Okay, and we'll see more about the defect. Okay, so for now, like we will execute the test cases and update our expected and the result in there. So that's what we'll do in the test execution phase. We'll execute all our test cases. And once the execution has been completed, then comes the reporting. Okay, reporting. Okay, so in the reporting, what we generally do is we'll prepare the reports. Like we'll generate the reports. Like let's say how many test cases are there, like something like this. See, like in the sheet 2, let's say I can create, okay, something number of test cases. Let's say the number of test cases are 50. Okay, how many passed? Let's say 40. How many failed? Like 10 test cases. Okay, and something like that. So all the information, like whatever the testing that we have done, so for that testing we will have information about it. Like we'll generate a report, like how many test cases got passed, how many got failed, then how many we executed it. Okay, so all the other information, like what is the time taken like to execute those test cases and who executed it. Okay, are there any issues, like how many are, like what are the failed ones, like what are the bugs that you created. Okay, so for the, if it is failed, that I said that it's a issue in the application, so we need to raise a defect or a bug. So we need to give all the bugs number, like every bug will have some number, so we need to give that bug number here. So all the information related to our testing, like we need to prepare a report once the test execution has been completed, and that phase is called as reporting phase. So report generation phase, like we'll generate a report of our testing. Okay, and during this process itself, like even in this process, like this is the life cycle of the testing. Okay, and again there are different things that also come up in the life cycle, in the sense, see, test case phase. Okay, so in the test cases we will write manual test case, like manually. Okay, again, okay, so there are two types of testings that will be done. So whatever the testing that we do will be done in two different ways. One is manual testing and the other one is the automation testing. Okay, so what we do in the manual testing is whatever the test cases that we develop during the execution, like we will test it manually. Manually in the sense, a person will sit in front of the machine and he is going to execute all the test cases. Okay, so that's what we just did it. So when we were executing our test cases, like we were manually sitting and we are trying to verify whether expect what is actual in the application. So you will manually visualize and see the functionality in the application. Okay, so that's a manual testing. So, and the other type is the automation testing. So in the automation, what we will do is, instead of a person sitting and performing the testing, what we do is we will write a code, like we'll use some tool, and in that tool we will write the code to actually test the application. That's what the automation testing is. So manual is a person performing the testing. Automation testing is we will develop a code and that code will test the application. Okay, so that's what the manual and the automation testing. And in this phase, like during the test cases phase, like in case if you are doing it manually, we don't do anything. Okay, we'll just write the manual test cases. But let's say if the company thinks that those test cases need to be automated, so that comes here. So once the test cases have been written, like there comes the test automation. Okay, so there comes the test automation. So what we'll do, like whichever the tool that they are using it, the company is using it, the automation testers will take the test cases, like they will take the manual test cases and write the code to automate those manual test cases. Okay, so whatever that we did manually now, we will use a tool and we'll write the code for it. So that also comes in the test cases phase. Okay, so if they are if the company is planning to do an automation, then only we will have the test automation phase. If they don't do it, then only manual test cases phase. And also in the execution, like if it is a manual test case, like manual execution, okay, so let's say they are not using any automation testing tools and they are just doing it manually, so they'll write the test cases and they'll execute the test cases manually. But in case they think they are doing the test automation, then what the company will do is during the execution phase, they will do the test scripts execution. Okay, so what they'll do, they'll take the tool and they'll click on the run button. So that run button will actually go into the application and it will perform the testing. Okay, so when we talk about, when we do the automation testing, like when we do the Selenium, then you will understand what that execution is or how you do the test automation. But in the manual, if it is only manual, we will write the test cases and manually execute the test cases. Okay, these two phases like test automation and the test scripts execution only come into the picture if their company wants to do the automation, test automation. Okay, so these are the different phases that we have in the testing life cycle. Okay, so first starts with the test planning, where we will plan, like prepare a test plan document and have all the testing related information in the test plan document. Once the test plan has been created, we'll create the test cases. Okay, so based on the requirements, we'll create all the test cases to test positive as well as the negative scenarios in the application. And once the test cases have been created, like we will do the test execution. So during the test execution itself, we will actually test the application. Like we will go into the application, we'll verify all the functionalities are working or not. Okay, and then comes the reporting phase. So based on our test execution, we will generate a report, in the sense like what is the like how many test cases have been executed, like all that information will be present in that reporting document. Okay, and once that reporting document is prepared, generally we'll send it to all the like managers, team leads and everyone, like management. So what has been done in the testing, whether we have completed the testing or not, and whether that product can be released to the client or not. So all that will be decided based on the test reporting itself. Okay, so this is what the testing life cycle is. Okay, so looks like there is one question. Let me check that. Okay, what does the maintenance phase does? Is it after giving the project to the client? Generally, yes. The maintenance phase is like once the product has been delivered it to the client. Okay, that's when the maintenance phase come into the picture. So any updates, any changes to it, that will be done in that maintenance phase itself. Okay, and also screenshot. So basically one more question is like what exactly is that screenshot? So during the test execution, I said that there will be a screenshot that you will be comparing with your application. Screenshots are nothing but during the design phase they will create a mock-up application. Okay, and that's where they decide like how the application UI should be. Okay, so the mockups, like based on the mockups itself, we are going to test it. So we don't know exactly like the logo of what the company is, okay, or how this image should be displayed, okay, or what should be there in that image. So all these things, like we will get it in the mockup. When they are designing the application, they will create a mockup of application, like they will create a screenshot or some images, and they will send that to the testers or the developers. So the developers also will use it. Okay, so based on that, like based on that itself, we are going to test the application. Okay, and one more question is, I mean, like who will write test cases? Like test cases are written by the testers. Okay, and one more question is like, does the project have both manual and automation testers? Generally, yes. Like before, it used to be like for every project, there used to be some manual testers as well as there used to be automation testers. But with the current scenario, with the current type of development, like in the agile methodology, the companies are trying to only do the automation. Okay, like very less manual testing but more of a automation testing. So because it's very fast and it's like there are what are the advantages that we saw with the automation yesterday. Because of those automations, like all the companies, they are preferring to do the test automation rather than doing the manual testing. Okay, because manual testing is very slow, like, and they need a lot of resources for that. Okay, so, and we saw yesterday, like in the last class, like what are the different advantages of manual over the automation testing, like over the manual testing. Okay, so that's why every company is trying to use automation itself. And with this agile methodology, like maximum everyone is planning to do automation itself rather than manual testing. Very less manual, and I can say 20% of manual and 80% of automation. So that's why they are trying to hire people who know automation rather than just the manual. Even though they are using, like some companies, they might just do the manual testing itself, but still in the requirement, they are asking for the automation testers itself, because a person who knows automation can do automation as well as manual testing also. Okay, but a manual tester may not be able to do the automation testing. Okay, so that's why what they're trying to do is, even if they do manual also, still they are asking for the person who knows automation testing. Okay, so that's why it's better to try on automation rather than just like manual testing. Okay, so any other questions? Okay, so let's stop it for today. Okay, and try to go through each and like what are the topics that we covered, try to go through them and get an idea and try to read them, because manual testing is all you need to answer, like the terms, like you need to know the terms and you need to just like answer them. Okay, so try to go through each and every topic that we covered and try to get an idea of it. Okay, even if you Google it also, like you will get a lot of information. Like just if you type software development lifecycle, you will get everything about the lifecycle, the phases, and each and every topic about it. Okay, I also have a document which I'll send you. Okay, and which has the URLs and links for that. So just go through those information also. Okay, but try to read as much as possible. Okay, so this is like manual testing is like reading and like just trying to answer, understanding the phases and the terms. Okay, so let's stop it today. Okay, and continue like Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Okay, I'll send you the email with the meeting information. Okay, but before the class, like before the class only, I'll send it. But the next class would be on Sunday morning, like 9 a.m. and it will be a continuation of the manual testing. And meanwhile, if you guys have any questions, like send me an email or call me. Okay, so let's stop it for today and continue on Sunday morning 9 a.m.